our seventh inductee tonight, worked hard for everything that he's accomplished. A 4-year starter in wrestling here at Clarion, of course, you know that's Division I, at 134 and 142 pounds. He had a career record of 98 and 34 against the best Division I competition. Standing on the podium as an All-American in 1998, he proudly represented himself, his family, and the Golden Eagles. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Division I wrestler and All-American Tomeo. You know, but as we get started, I'm not sure exactly where your grandma is sitting. Could she stand? All right, she's waving. I did this for one reason. She's a fellow Elwood Cityan. We're from the same hometown. I got a chance to talk to her before. What a special grandmother you have.
Know it.
I know this leads into the first question we were talking about. And I know you miss your grandfather too. I'm sure your grandma does. And it just so happens that being from the same hometown, I went over and talked to your grandma, and she recognized she knew my mother and father too. Family's been a big part of your life. Let's talk about your family unit, how it's molded you as the wrestler that you became.
Oh, it's the foundation. It's where you start. It's what you learn. You know, we're extremely blessed. You know, grew up very simple. Little farmette, if you will. A schoolhouse. I was just saying this, but first school I went to, there was K through 4th grade, and there was 95 kids in the whole school. So it was just tiny. But we got some great foundations, great, learning skills and how to be grounded and work for what you want. And then, I have 2 amazing, sisters and a brother. We were very competitive. Everything we did, we were taught to work extremely hard, to create, a lot of value, to have respect. And, but it was funny because, I loved going to see my grandma and my grandpa, but my grandma was amazing. And it was like you're going on a cruise every time you got to her house, or a vacation. We called her Grandma Far Away. Because our other relatives were really close to us, pretty close right down the road, in the country. But she was like 30 minutes away. So it was Grandma Far away. And Elwood was a special place. There's so much tight-knit family. And I was just talking with Tyler, being from Riverside, and he knew the family compound up at the hill and the big Italian bashes. I mean, about as crazy fun as you can get without getting in too much trouble.
I want to backtrack now. I'm going to go back to the first question that we talked where you were going. You were at camp when we talked about Ron Ryder and getting into camps and everything. You came to Coach Bub's camps here. Talk about that.
Correct. So, my first experience with Clarion was Autumn Leaf. So we was young. And what a wild and incredible time that was with the parade and everything. So I was little, and of course when the candy's thrown, kids get excited. So the Autumn Leaf Festival was just an amazing time. Then we started to learn how to water ski on the Clarion River. And that was because of my Uncle Dave worked at the university. And it was great seeing different people here that he knew and he worked with. So we came up to Clarion, and then I started coming to wrestling camps. Incredible camps. I think probably 6th, 7th, 8th grade time frame. Back then, for this amazing development here in restoration. They had North Gym, the South Gym, wrestling whole floor, the wrestling room, the dance studio, packed wall to wall. Hundreds and hundreds of kids coming in here a week. And what a system it was. But you had, honestly, and when I saw it when I was young, the best of the best in the country here. So not only did Coach Bub, create these, but the type of instructors he brought in from, coast to coast was incredible. Yeah, so that was 6th, 7th, 8th grade. And I really got a great taste for life here.
You came to Clarion here in 94.
93, yeah.
Well, season of
Season 94, correct.
season
yeah.
of
Yeah,
94.
correct.
And when you came that year, we already had a lot of talent in the room. Um, Brian Stout, 4-time All-American. Sheldon Thomas ended up NCAA champion. What was it like coming into a room that had that type of competition?
Well, that's why I came here. Originally I was really interested in Cornell. Really decided I was ready to commit. I committed verbally to Bucknell. I think the story is that Clarion thought I wanted engineering, which I was looking at biology. So once they found out I was interested in biology, they gave me a call right away in January, senior year. So the process was already way down the trail, but it happened fast. Because I was already accustomed to the school, the amazing town, people. And I came up, met the team, and what a great unit of just the same vision, passion, pursuit of excellence. And immediately I was very very interested. And then they talked about Brian Stout, Sheldon Thomas, that were redshirting that year, going to be stepping on the mat the next year, and what we were looking at team wise, what the goals were. Because honestly, they were looking for somebody else to take them to that top in the country. That's one of the reasons why.
And you went on and we won EWLs, PSATs, high placings at nationals. A great group of guys. Those guys had great gifts. You, on the other hand, had gifts. You were noted for being full tank, 7 minutes, I'm in your face, hard-nosed, gritty. Just talk about your style. What you would do to your opponent. What was your goal?
Well, my style changed. It really, when I was in high school, I was very open, very quick. But when I came to Clarion, it was a successful style, but I realized something had to change, and that was identified right away. I said I needed to learn how to hand fight, how to be more in your face. I was more of a quicker outside. I seemed to be more in your face, and I was okay, but at the level here, expectation, I was terrible. Especially in my mind. So I said I had to put some work in, and it just so happened that one of the best hand fighters on the team was Kyle Wolf. And Kyle was he was the end of his career here. I think it was the 5th year. He's actually the guy I had to beat to make the team. And in practice, obviously when we wrestle off, I'd wrestle my best style versus his weakest style. Obviously, I wanted to win the spot. But since he was the best hand fighter, I stayed away from that. But in practice, I said, I need to absorb what this guy has because I realized he could help. And so I put my hands on him, and it would be close, back and forth. And I'll tell you, and this story's kind of fun. There was multiple days I went down to that old locker room, and I flipped down the wooden seat, the handicap seat. Turned the shower, flipped down the wooden seat, sat in the seat, and I put shampoo in my hand. And I had to wash my head down into my hands because I couldn't lift my hands up to wash my hair because I couldn't move. But that was the type of commitment expected here, and that we accept to be at the level that we were striving for. And then I took a weakness into my strength. That's when more in your face style came.
So let me fast forward a little bit. So you wrestled 2 years, red shirt.
Correct.
Then junior, senior year. Your senior year, and this is just sort of from my memory, but Dorian Hager from West Virginia was sort of like a nemesis for you. But you went up to EWLs, and I remember exactly where it was, but you beat him. And what was that like a springboard for you? Was that something like, I mean, you were preparing for that then you sort of crossed that threshold?
Well, my 3rd year, I had a red shirt. My knee got torn apart, and it just snowballed effect. It just seemed like I was always trying to get back, and whether collarbones torn from my sternum, high ankle sprains. I mean, we've all been there with stuff. So just trying to become healthy, trying to get back to the form of right before that junior injury. And so, sometimes too, it's like, will I ever get back to that form? So, your mind's always fighting with confidence wise. So, and I was doing pretty well, but I was in and out of the lineup. My last 3 years, I missed a year and a half. So finally getting back in, I did the limited amount that I needed to, just to prepare, but not put my body through excess. Get into the EWL finals, wrestling Dorian. I think at that point, I beat him once, he beat me twice. And he won EWLs his freshman year. Very fast, very strong. And I beat him. I won the EWL, I was very excited. But at that point, I was like, okay, I felt I'm back. Like I could make a run for the national title.
Well, and you did. So we go forward. So we go to NCAAs, and you win the first match, win the second match. Then I'm not sure if McGinnis from Iowa was number 1 seed. I think it was the number 1 seed, number 2 seed.
Yeah.
And so you end up losing to him. And I don't know, describe. If you've been to nationals, you realize you have that goal of being a national champion. Then you're like the quarters or semis, and you lose. It's hard to drag your body back, want to wrestle. Let's talk about it.
So yeah, it's crushing. Everybody knows when you take a hard loss, and it was he's a national champ prior, and it was a tight tested match. Lost the match, and then so you have to reset. And I was just hoping my body could handle a few more matches. And so then we go into the next rounds, blood round, and I got to wrestle Dorian.
Yeah, so I think you win the next match.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Dorian and then in the blood round. What they call the blood round is guaranteed All-American. So if you win that match, you are guaranteed All-American. If you lose that match, all that, what you've been working for is gone. So here all the chips are on the table. You have Dorian Hager.
Right.
Talk about that match.
So it was exciting. I was focused, prepared, took them down, turned them, and I don't give up a lot of points. I never did. I was just, trained up. But I got that, and at that point, my head was shaking up and down, and I said, I got you. I knew it right there in the first. Yeah, I got that. And it's interesting because, different emotions, different people handle things different. And I remember getting my hand raised in that match, and so many people you'd think you'd be like super excited. I've had some super exciting matches where I'm just elated, and there's pictures of me with my head slumped. My head was down slumped, and because the monkey was off the back, like the hardship, pain, the desire from when you're young, from all the people who put time into you, your parents and all of that for you. It was relief. It was excited relief, but it was relief. And going through, I finally did that, and to top it off, very end of the tournament, but all the All-Americans remember, I'll never forget this, on the stage, right before the 2 finalists go out. And I was paraded up, whatever, and I just don't forget this point in my family.
I was there. That was awesome. One last thing. You're still a pin club.
A lot of stuff involved.
Talk about what that means to you. That being all these years later, you're a member of the pin club. So
one of the reasons why I came to Clarion was because of the pin club. It's the booster program. And Grove City had an amazing booster program. And they were so supportive of us. And when I was looking for a college, I was like, I want that same backing and support. And it's fantastic. And we, not growing up very far from here. I come back. I still came back. I finally said I thank Coach Keith for letting me, take care, be a part of the practice yesterday up here. I love it. I love, everybody, especially Clarion. That's why I broke out the special Clarion tide. This is another home. I've been all over the world. My family, I'll tell you a few things at the end, but my sister's been in 35, 36 countries, maybe competing and coaching U.S. teams. But this is a home for me, and I love coming back. But that's part of it. It's being a part of that group that was so passionate and pursuing excellence.
Some thank yous for you.
Absolutely. Try to be brief. I know my 8-year-old. He's done a great job tonight. But so just really quick. But there was people that started me off right with the right mindset. And so these guys like from my youth, Steve Alfrino, Bob Webster. In junior high, Bud Ruley and Bob Becker. These guys got my mindset the way it needed to be and helped create goals. High school, Marty Ruley, Curtis Connor, Jeff Bell. And then here, coming here, I had Jack Davis who recruited me. Kurt Angle came to recruit. It's pretty hard not to be interested if Kurt Angle doesn't come and recruit you. But then Ken Nellis was one of the closest coaches I've ever had as far as development. It was awesome, and I had a ton of respect. Rob Eiter, Olympian, also with Kurt this year. Eric Burnett, Sheldon Thomas was a coach, and also Wade Shawless. Wade, who hired me and doing camps when I was traveling. He's got the record in pins in the NCAA from Clarion, one of the 75 best ever in the country. And then your boosters, again, that pin club. The families like the Lutons, the Riesmeyers, Tom Finley, and so many more. And today I see people that are still involved, like Gary Barton, Ken Hasselrig, and Jackie Irwin, are here today. Being so much involved in here. Teachers, I came up here for Dr. Morrow, who's in the biology program. I'm going to go biology. I want to make sure I know who I'm going to be dealing with. Dr. Morrow was incredible. And then some people that kept me on the mat, super important. When I was in high school, Tim Shell. When I was up in here, Dr. Armstrong, Kirk Chadwick, who was a chiropractor, and especially Thunder. Many of you know Jim Thornton, and that guy did so much for me here when this struggle happened. And we would literally have fights sometimes up on the training tape, whether he was going to super glue me or if I had to go to the hospital to get stitches. I've been super glued so many times, it's not even funny. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. And one last thing. Sorry. I want to say, first of all, Rich, I want to thank you and the committee. Yep. Oh, sorry. I have my family. Second. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Jumping around. Thank you so much, Rich, for everything you've done here. My parents that did everything, took me everywhere. My brother, my two sisters, my grandparents, that they didn't miss a match here. Like they were coming up constantly. And aunt, uncles, cousins, and my wife currently. I still coach. I've been coaching it recently, 50, 60, and up to 70, 80 some practices a month on the mat, training kids from peewees up through. And I couldn't do that without my wife, my two kids. Daughter, 13, Emma, Ethan's 8. Rich, I'm happy, super excited to be in the club.
Thank you. Tom Tomeo.